These are the neighborhoods of Cincinnati, some thriving with billion-dollar trust funds and gleaming developments, others trapped in cycles of poverty that stretch back generations. This is the story of how America's former Porkopolis became a living laboratory of urban inequality and the controversial efforts to write a new chapter. Cincinnati wasn't always a city of stark contrasts. When it was chartered in 1819 as the Queen of the West, this Ohio River port city represented the American dream in motion. By 1850, it had grown into the sixth largest city in the United States, with 115,435 residents, its warehouses and taverns serving the endless stream of pioneers heading west. The city's strategic location made it an inland shipping powerhouse, but an unlikely industry would define its golden age. Pigs. Thousands upon thousands of them herded through city streets in drives so massive that Harper's Weekly described the chaos as a drove once started on its journey being bound, at all hazards and against obstacles to go through. Cincinnati had discovered its calling as America's meatpacking capital, earning the nickname Porkopolis that would stick for decades. The transformation started in 1810 when Richard Fosdick opened the first slaughterhouse on Deer Creek, developing a curing process using rock salt that revolutionized pork preservation. By 1840, 48 packing houses employed 1,200 men to produce over $3 million worth of packed pork annually. Commercial meatpacking had arrived, and Cincinnati dominated 27% of Western meatpacking by 1850. The industrial boom stretched far beyond pork. The massive influx of German immigrants fleeing revolutionary upheavals in Europe during 1848 provided both the workforce and expertise to build a manufacturing empire. By 1870, one-third of Cincinnati's population was German-born, and they transformed the city into what one historian called the tool manufacturing capital of the world. The numbers tell the story of Cincinnati's industrial might. By 1887, local industries produced more than $200 million in goods and employed 103,325 people. Companies like R.K. LeBlond Machine Tool, founded in 1887, became legendary for manufacturing the metal-cutting lathes that bored out the barrels on almost all of the guns in World War II on all sides. Cincinnati Milacron pioneered machine tool technology that would shape American manufacturing for over a century. Then came the railroads, and with them, the beginning of the end of Cincinnati's dominance. The completion of the first transcontinental railroad in 1869 shifted the frontier further west, making Chicago and Kansas City more accessible for livestock shipping. By 1885, Chicago had surpassed Cincinnati as the meatpacking capital, leaving the Queen City searching for a new identity. Cincinnati had built something more valuable than any single industry. It had created neighborhoods. German immigrants settled primarily in Over-the-Rhine, walking to work across bridges over the Miami and Erie Canal, which locals nicknamed the Rhine after the German River. African Americans, drawn north by industrial jobs, established vibrant communities in the West End and other areas. These were not just residential zones, they were complete ecosystems of social, cultural, and economic life. The catastrophic unraveling of this urban fabric did not happen overnight. It was methodical, calculated, and devastating in its precision. In 1948, Cincinnati adopted its Metropolitan Master Plan, a document that would reshape the city's destiny in ways few could have imagined. The plan called for the construction of Interstate 75, a ribbon of concrete that would slice directly through the heart of the Lower West End, a thriving African American community that had become the cultural and economic center of Black Cincinnati. What happened next was urban devastation. The Kenyon Bar Urban Redevelopment Project razed the Lower West End community, forcing the removal of 25,737 residents, 97% of whom were Black. Houses, businesses, churches, and social clubs that had anchored the community for generations simply vanished under the bulldozers. As Fritz Casey Leininger, a retired University of Cincinnati history professor, puts it bluntly, whites did everything they could to stop Black people from moving into what they considered white neighborhoods. The displaced residents did not disappear. They were pushed into other neighborhoods like Avondale, Walnut Hills, and Over-the-Rhine. The destruction went deeper than physical displacement. It obliterated what urban planners now recognize as irreplaceable: the social, political, cultural, and faith networks that had taken decades to build. The effects compound over time in ways that statistics can barely capture. Today, about 1 in 4 Cincinnatians live below the poverty line. Drill down to specific neighborhoods, and the numbers become staggering. In Lower Price Hill and Roll Hill, roughly 3 out of 4 residents live in poverty. In Winton Hills, South Cumminsville, and Millvale, more than half live in poverty. Around 72.1% of Lower Price Hill residents are living in poverty, with 48.3% of households receiving SNAP benefits. The racial dimension of this inequality is impossible to ignore. A study from 2011 found Cincinnati is the 8th most segregated city in America. The median household income for Black residents was $21,300, compared to $48,000 for white residents as of 2013. From 2000 to 2013, white households in Cincinnati gained $11,000 in median household income, while Black households gained just $316. Among Cincinnati neighborhoods that are at least 75% white, all but one has a poverty rate lower than the city average. Among those that are at least 75% Black, all but one has a poverty rate higher than the city average. Dr. Wendy Ellis, director of the Center for Community Resilience at George Washington University, offers this sobering assessment. Cincinnati is not an outlier. It is actually a microcosm. Yet in the midst of this tale of decline and division, something remarkable began to emerge. Pockets of reinvention started appearing across the city, each telling a different story about what urban renewal could look like in the 21st century. The most dramatic transformation happened in Over-the-Rhine, the historic German neighborhood that had become synonymous with urban decay. By the years 2009 and 2010, this area that once housed 40,000 people in 1900 was home to a mere 6,000 residents, and it was regularly cited as one of America's most dangerous neighborhoods. The National Trust for Historic Preservation named it one of America's most endangered places in 2006. Enter the Cincinnati Center City Development Corporation, known as 3CDC, created in 2003 to revitalize Cincinnati's urban core. What followed was one of the most comprehensive neighborhood transformations in recent American history. To date, 3CDC has played a direct role in over $2 billion in development projects in downtown Cincinnati and over the Rhine. This investment has yielded 210 buildings restored, 49 new buildings constructed, 20 acres of restored civic space, and the creation of 2,303 residential units and over 2 million square feet of commercial space. The results are visually stunning. Over the Rhine is now heralded nationally as a success story in neighborhood revitalization. Historic Italianate buildings have been meticulously restored, trendy restaurants and craft breweries line the streets, and the neighborhood has become the center of Cincinnati's thriving arts community. Crime has decreased substantially, property values have soared, and young professionals have flocked to the area's converted lofts and new apartment complexes. Success stories often come with complicated footnotes. Over the Rhine was once 80% Black. By 2014, it had transformed to over 65% white. The Gateway Quarter section has become, according to critics, a predominantly white, wealthy, and exclusive section. More than 1,000 African Americans left the area between 2000 and 2010, priced out by the very improvements that made the neighborhood desirable again. University of Buffalo urban historian Henry Louis Taylor Jr. does not mince words about the pattern. He says he will not get into whether it was intentional or unintentional, but it is clear they were creating the kind of community that Black people could not afford to live in. Other neighborhoods are writing different chapters in Cincinnati's reinvention story. Camp Washington, long known for its industrial character, has emerged as a fascinating case study in managed growth. This neighborhood maintains its working-class industrial identity while attracting new investment and residents. Meyer Tool and Die, which started in Camp Washington in 1951, has evolved into a leader in turbine technologies for military and aerospace applications. Over half of the firm's 1,500 worldwide employees still work in the historic neighborhood. The community's proximity to downtown and the University of Cincinnati, combined with available industrial buildings ripe for adaptive reuse, has made it an emerging research and development hub. An estimated 30% of the industrial stock could be adaptively reused, including Cincinnati's landmark Crossley building. Recent planning efforts specifically address how to manage growth while preserving the neighborhood's artistic, quirky character. Then there is the unprecedented Windfall that could reshape Cincinnati's entire approach to neighborhood development. In March 2024, Cincinnati finalized the sale of the Cincinnati Southern Railway to Norfolk Southern for $1.6 billion, making Cincinnati the last municipality in the country to own an interstate railroad. The railway had been a dependable cash cow for the city since 1881, when operations were leased out, but the sale created something entirely new, the Cincinnati Southern Railway Trust. The trust, projected to generate about $56 to $58 million annually for the city, represents the largest single influx of capital in Cincinnati's modern history. In summer 2025, Cincinnati City Council approved the appropriation of its first $56 million payment, with the city committing to spend more than half the revenues in neighborhoods where the median income is below $50,000 a year. This is not just about money. It is about choice. For the first time in generations, Cincinnati has the financial flexibility to make long-term investments in neighborhoods that have been systematically underserved. The city's 2025 Neighborhood Business District Investment Program is directing funds towards stabilizing historic theaters and community facilities in the West End, North Side, Avondale, Westwood, and East Price Hill, along with facade improvements and storefront activations across multiple neighborhoods. These efforts focus on stabilizing local businesses and cultural anchors. Brownfield remediation represents another front in Cincinnati's renewal efforts. Due to the city's industrial legacy, Cincinnati is home to numerous vacant and underutilized properties contaminated with hazards like asbestos and lead. Hamilton County was recently awarded $31.8 million for 18 brownfield projects within Cincinnati, turning environmental liabilities into development opportunities. This work is essential for remediation and safe redevelopment. Major infrastructure projects are reshaping the downtown core as well. An $800 million development launched in July 2024 will completely transform Cincinnati's downtown convention district, including a reimagined convention center connected to a new Marriott headquarters hotel. The project represents the kind of large-scale investment that can anchor broader neighborhood revitalization efforts. Cincinnati's corporate landscape remains a crucial asset in these renewal efforts. The city bounced back from 5 to 7 Fortune 500 companies in 2024. Kroger is ranked 27th nationally, with $147.1 billion in revenue, and Procter & Gamble is ranked 51st, with $84 billion. These corporate anchors provide both economic stability and the kind of high-paying jobs that can support neighborhood investment. The corporate presence matters. The most intriguing developments are happening at the neighborhood level, where residents and community organizations are taking control of their own narratives. In Avondale, community partners are developing a resilience hub that will include rooftop solar and battery installation. The project represents a new model of neighborhood development that prioritizes community ownership and environmental sustainability. This is community-driven change. The contrasts remain stark. Half the people in Avondale live in poverty, almost 1 in 5 lack health insurance, and renters outnumber homeowners 3 to 1. Yet the same neighborhood is becoming a testing ground for innovative approaches to community resilience and economic development. Cincinnati's story isn't finished. It's being written in real time across dozens of neighborhoods, each grappling with its own version of the tension between preservation and progress, between honoring the past and building the future. The city that once called itself the Queen of the West is discovering that true reinvention isn't about choosing between its industrial heritage and its urban aspirations. It's about finding ways to honor both while creating something entirely new. As Plan Cincinnati, the city's comprehensive planning document puts it, because we are a city with good bones, We don't need to create a new Cincinnati, we just need to reinvigorate it in order to become the modern city we want to be. The question isn't whether Cincinnati will continue to change. It's whether that change will benefit everyone who calls the city home, or whether it will simply create new versions of old inequalities. With a billion-dollar trust fund, ongoing neighborhood investments, and a growing awareness of past mistakes, Cincinnati has the resources to write a different ending to its story. Whether it will seize that opportunity remains the city's greatest challenge and its most promising possibility.